Welcome to the Professional Next Door. I'm your host, Jerry R. Smith. This program talks to professionals throughout the community. We will get a chance to peek into their lives and learn the secrets of being a professional, almost like having a conversation with your neighbor. Welcome to another Tuesday night. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a Tuesday night. And a person that I met maybe a couple of weeks ago at a meetup, and we were doing blogging. So I did two. I did one for blogging, and I did another one for, what was it? Podcasting.
Oh.
So which one I meet you at? Blogging.
I feel so memorable. I even remember where I was sitting and where you were sitting.
Yeah, blogging.
It was blogging.
Okay. So for a few people that haven't met you yet, tell us just a brief introduction because we're going to go deeper later on. So a brief introduction, briefly.
Hello, my name is Stacy Malia, and yes, I am a blogger. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a writer. Is that too brief, or shall I continue?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Great.
One of the things that I do for my guests who are listening is saying that to get a good feel for the person, where did you grow up? And how many times have you been in jail? Just kidding.
Well,
no, you don't have to answer that.
The second part or the first?
The second part.
You can pick one of those questions. I'll answer one.
Where did you grow up, and how did that impact your professional life?
I grew up. Well, I've grown up all over the place. I was born in Walnut Creek, California. But then we moved to New Zealand when I was 5.
Wow.
Yes, lived there for...
Can you remember? How long were you there?
Oh, yeah, 5 years.
So from 5 to 10?
5 to 10 about, roughly.
Okay, yeah.
And it was beautiful. It was lush, and it was safe. I remember being, 7 years old and being like, I'm going to the movies. And my mom's like, okay. So I just went down
the street or wherever.
Cruised downtown and watched the movie. And
came back and told Mom, the movie was great. It was about Disney and Bambi got killed.
Exactly.
Man.
So, yeah, it was very safe. I haven't been back in a while, but it was a beautiful, wonderful environment to grow up in. Everything was I remember the dairy was so fresh. I mean... just you right out of the cow onto your table, and it's
can't get much fresher.
It's pretty
See, I
fresh.
grew up in Arkansas. My grandfather, he had cows and goats and chickens and all that, so we had that same experience.
Do you know how to milk a cow?
Yeah, as a kid. Come on.
Oh, I bet. Was that one of your chores?
Well, as a kid, I followed my grandmother out and collecting eggs, and sometimes they would milk the cows. So they come here, Jerry, and so it's like. My uncle had 5 kids and lived on the same farm. It was like 25 acres or so, and we would go down there like every weekend. All of the kids. So there were 5 there, and then 6 my mother, and then the other neighbors. So all the kids are always around, and they just say, "Come over and help."
That's great.
It was an interesting.
I feel like we really lack that this day and age. That growing up around a farm.
Yeah, Arkansas is a good place to be from.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna stay down there. Don't want to stay down there. So when you do downtime and leisure and stuff, what do you find yourself doing? Something that my listeners can listen to.
Right. Yes, I'll keep it PG.
No, we good.
I, of course, love practicing yoga myself, so I do that. I'm very much into. I'm a double Gemini. I'm about to get real hippy dippy with you.
Yeah, what is that? What does that mean? I don't know. So I was born January 12th, and that they say it's Capricorn, so I know that's the sign name.
Right.
But I don't really follow it to know.
So there's your birth sign, and then there's your rising and your moon. I'm by no means an expert on the astrology. I just follow it. I know that I have my in-depth report from Susan Miller. She's a big name in the astrology world. So my big book that she's formatted for me.
What's your? Do you pay more attention to your strengths in that, or you're cautious of saying that they've warned you're like this now, so make sure that you don't put yourself in a position to be taken advantage of? Because
I just really try and take away the positive of it.
I don't. Oh no! How are you gonna pick and choose?
Well,
they tell you like if they tell you all of it, how are you gonna say like no, all that bad stuff?
Right. Well, I do. I enjoy it because I think the way, especially she does it, is that she gives the forecast as this is something you should be aware of. This is what, this eclipse may affect you in this way. She never,
Give me an example of saying directly one for you about yourself. What are one of the things one of your traits? I don't know.
Well,
pick a good one.
I know. I'm trying to think of again. Trying to keep.
There are so many. I am
there
so wonderful.
Are so many good traits. How do I focus?
It has no connection with the astrology thing. It's like, hey.
Well, I feel like Geminis are very malleable because we do have that dual personality aspect.
Wow.
A lot of people would call that, the negative end, a lying two-face. Some of my exes certainly would agree with me on that. But I think that I've turned it into a skill set because I feel like I can choose which girl,
which truth to go on.
Which girl does this person want to talk to? That's what I'm going to put out there. But which of these girls is going to get this person to be the best them? So let's put it like that. That's my favorite Gemini.
Interesting. That's an interesting approach to astrology, whatever it is. We go with that. So then, go to your educational experience.
Okay, great. I went to Catholic high school. I was a Catholic high school girl. Then I went to university in Boulder. As far as yoga, I did my first teacher training in the fall of 2009 in beautiful Las Vegas.
Okay.
In the parking lot of the Hilton. And that was my...
Wait a minute. They had training in the parking lot of the Hilton? Or the person that recruited you?
Jerry. There's no place too good or too bad for yoga teacher training. You can just, set up a tent and put 300 people in it and teach them how to teach yoga. Yeah.
Okay.
That was my Bikram yoga certification, and then I went to New York, taught for a while, 7 years, and in 2015 I received my 200-hour Yoga Alliance certification.
So what does that mean? That you've taught for 200 hours, or that you've
the school? So there's a certain set hours.
Oh, okay. Like real estate. I'm a real estate agent, and we have to have so many hours per year.
Yes, there are many similarities between yoga and real estate.
Ah, okay. Except one, we don't stretch as much, or relax and meditate. Well,
Sure.
I kind of do it anyway. Like I tell people, I do Tai Chi a little bit, yoga a little bit, and I combine them sometimes, do one back to back, and add a whole lot of other stuff in, just in case I live a long time.
Well,
I want to be ready.
That's great. I think you should host, a yoga Tai Chi class at one of your open houses. Then you can promote the house and
at the same time.
It's Zen qualities, and people are more relaxed and able to, think about purchase.
So we go back to the training. Do you have to be like limber in order to say,
no,
or that just a byproduct of practicing yoga, or how's that? You put your knee behind your head or whatever kind of thing? I don't know.
I mean, that's a cool trick at parties for sure.
Right.
And plenty of Instagram feeds are full of that. So, but the most important thing I think is just a love for being able to, or a desire and a passion for wanting to teach people. I know a lot of instructors, some of my favorite mentors got into it because they have injuries themselves and are unable to get into certain postures or do certain things, or they're not they don't feel they're at their healthiest.
Right.
However, they are so determined to be encourage the health in other people that they study it and they pass it along. And those are some of my favorite teachers because they're more passionate almost. I'd rather take from that person than somebody that's going to, throw up some fancy scorpion handstand. Forgive my yoga terminology.
No, I'm good. In case you're just joining me, you're listening to The Professional Next Door. I'm your host, Jerry R. Smith, 91.5 The Source. And we have Stacy telling us that we don't have to put our ankles behind our head in order to be good or even teaching yoga.
No.
Is that the thing?
Absolutely.
So what are some of the jobs you had prior to deciding that, no, man, this ain't me?
Oh, Jerry.
I don't know. Okay.
I no. Let's see. I mean, right out of
I ain't gonna
college.
tell my background, man. All right, go ahead.
Well, my first job out of college, I was actually a nanny for Hugh Hefner. So that was one of my jobs, the
Okay.
first job I had, which was mind blowing.
No doubt.
Yeah, and then I decided that was a little too crazy for me at the time, so I moved to San Francisco and I started working in TV sales.
So go to the nanny part. No,
You don't want me to just blow right through that? That's
no.
crazy.
Okay, so we'll back up first. College. What was your degree in? Or what did you
English
go-
and theater.
English and theater. Never would have put that together. So
I'm
you were
so shy.
You were
Yeah.
thinking about pursuing an acting career or writing, or what were you going to do in that vein?
All of the above, and in a very unfocused way at the time. I wanted it all, but I didn't know how to organize or budget my goals, if you will.
Right,
So
right,
yeah,
right.
I absolutely. I mean, anybody saying, "Hey, we want to cast you in this," or "We want you to write for this," I would have been like, "Great, let's do it." But I was kind of all over the place as a youngster.
And have you written any screenplays or treatments
No,
or
I mostly
books or
just write
poetry?
autobiographical things about experiences I've had. About my blog is all about my experiences and why it's always okay to get back into health and whatnot. Despite your many poor choices, if you have any.
So do a Shakespeare thing. Put you on the spot, man. I don't remember any of
A
Shakespeare stuff.
soliloquy, right on this Stacey soliloquy. Goodness, no.
We
I
won't
couldn't
know the
even.
difference.
Yeah.
So just go ahead. All right, now, do you write poetry or you like poetry? So here's my thing. I graduated here in 1990, and then I retired Metro Police in 2006. So I said I'm going to mess around, just throw 10 years and just do whatever I want. However, at 57, I'm going back and get me a degree and something that's going to help me to write.
Sure.
So I came back here and started a journalism degree
That's great.
and took a few courses in it. So the thing of saying that I didn't like reading poetry for whatever crazy reason, but I took the poetry class, and I really loved it. I don't know, it was crazy of saying that I'm speaking poetically
No,
already.
that's a beautiful thing. I
Yeah.
personally love, I tend to go for things that have a little more, like haikus. I'm a little more, not just because I'm half Japanese, but also because it's so structured. 575, I believe, is for a haiku. So I tend to start off with structure very well because, as I said before, sometimes I get a little scattered. And poetry, I feel, maybe I could be speaking out of turn, but people have such a gift being able to just write poetically without a base of this is what you say here, this is what you do here, and so when I don't know, I have such a respect for that. I can't personally do that and make it.
I tried, and I did produce a few pieces, but as doing it as in structured and concentrating on how that has to play out in order to get the end result of the different styles of it or formats. But normally, when you're waxing poetic, it just flows.
Yeah,
and
right.
it's almost a combination of a lot of different ones. But
Sure.
if you're going to do it and you're saying you're following the academic formats, then you're like restricted in a sense. And
Exactly.
I don't like that restriction.
I feel like for me, I need to have that, but yet that's sort of the anti-poetry thing, right? You just want to be able to write and pour your heart out. I've always, written. That's why my stories are they tend to be very long at first because I kind of am just like a conduit for whatever is pouring in my head at the time, and it just kind of pours right out onto the paper, and then I go back and edit and whatnot. But something like poetry, I don't know. I haven't tried it because I'm I guess I'm too afraid that it's going to come off sounding.
It'll scare me. Show me how bad I am at something. At something.
Oh, believe me, there's a list. There's plenty.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. And we're going to take a quick break. And then on the other side, we're going to go ahead and just pour your soul on all the bad stuff that you've experienced. In case you're just joining me, you're listening to The Professional Next Door. I'm your host, Jerry R. Smith, 91.5 The Source. And Stacy is going to tell us all of the bad things that are within reason.
Every single one. Yes.
And we're going to go maybe some good things as well, and some stuff about getting your life together as a doing Pilates and yoga and all those kind of things. So you guys come back in just a few seconds. You're listening to The Professional Next Door. I'm your host, Jerry R. Smith, 91.5 The Source, and be back in just a few seconds. In case you're just joining me, this is a Tuesday night, as you well know. And on the other side, Stacy was just going all over the place. She's scatterbrained in her space. So I was sharing us all the different aspects of her life. You're listening to The Professional Next Door. I'm your host, Jerry R. Smith, 91.5 The Source. And Stacy also teaches yoga and bringing out your better self or your aligned self, or what does yoga do? And as we mentioned on the other side, you don't have to be like ultra flexible necessarily.
No.
And but why are they, or how does that come about?
Well,
Okay, treat us as if though we're coming to you for the first time,
right,
to potentially start practicing yoga. How would that orientation go?
Well, one of the things I often hear is I don't want to take yoga because I'm not flexible, and that as a teacher is it's one of the weirdest things to me, because I'm like, it sounds like if you came to a deli and said, I can't eat your sandwich because I'm too hungry. So
if we don't know,
because it's like,
we think that we have to be flexible, like say put your ankle behind your head and do a full split and all that stuff.
I'm going to tell you right now, any teacher you walk into and they're like, you have to be flexible to be in my class,
right,
do not take
Run.
that class. Exactly. Right. They are there to nurture you and to guide you into your own flexibility.
So
to
what am I trying to get to when I'm coming to start the class? Am I starting a class? Am I starting a lifestyle? What am I starting? What am I starting?
You know what? That's a good question, because it starts as something that I know for me, the way it started is that someone, in San Francisco, and I think it was about the year 2000, one of the girls I used to work with at ABC television was like, hey, why don't you come take a yoga class with me? And I was like, okay, I'll try anything once. Okay. And I just rolled into this hot yoga class, no water, no anything, nothing prepared. I had no idea what was going on. And I just went through this entire, 105-degree temperature, 40% humidity class. Inside, yes. And I was one of those ones that right off the bat, I fell in love with it. I thought, oh my God, first of all, I slept like a baby that night. But
now this is what I do every so often. I just do a few yoga stretching, and when I go to sleep, it's like I don't even remember falling asleep.
Isn't that
great? As if though I was like dead for the overnight.
Your ultimate corpse pose, Shavasana.
Yes.
Man. See, you're practicing yoga and you don't even know it. I love it. This is great.
I've been doing it for a minute.
Yeah.
So I know what I'm doing. But I don't get that sleep until I do the yoga just prior to getting in bed.
Oh, well, keep doing it, though.
Oh, yeah. I do. I'm not going to stop it. All right, I interrupt you. So.
Yeah, totally rude, Jerry. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I am, because I get so excited about certain topics. I'll jump out. All right, go ahead.
Okay, my turn now.
Do you remember where you were?
No, not really, actually. No, I do.
Going to the pits. Okay.
Okay, let's jump on the train again.
Right.
The yoga train, choo-choo.
I'm in orientation for yoga.
Right.
And again, the question I'm saying, am I getting ready to do a lifestyle thing, or am I just doing some exercise, stretching?
So people come to yoga for all sorts of different reasons. And usually it's either a health problem, or most of the time it's a health problem, or they want to change in lifestyle. We get, people that have tried a lot of things and they've either had a friend or hopefully a doctor, they're starting to get more on board with that.
Right.
Recommend them try yoga as something to calm down the mind.
Oh, yeah.
Because, the goal of practicing the asanas or the postures is really to quiet the mind. And, they come into the class hoping for some sort of physical change. Now, I have what happened to me was sort of like when moms sneak vegetables and macaroni and cheese. You go and you take your class because you're thinking you're getting all of these physical benefits, and then all of a sudden, your mind gets clearer. You walk out and you have more patience in traffic. You don't care that you are getting yelled at by some stranger. And I'm like, when did that happen? When did those...
So saying that right, that part of making the connection between, peaceful world and a peaceful outlook toward, how does that fit in with stretching and holding a pose? And how do they go together?
It is the mind-body connection. Yoga is body connection, mind. Now, your mind and your body is already connected. I think that gets confused in yoga a lot. So there is that union already. What yoga does is it makes it a more fluid union, and it makes it more seamless, so that when you get in there and you're doing these postures and you're improving your life in a physical way, all of a sudden your mind, which is connected to the body, is feeling it too. I mean, everything is just connected like that.
So is there a connection between downward facing dog and something? So I should do more of those?
Absolutely, always.
So what is that bringing then, if I'm doing that pose?
It's going to do, well, for some people that can be a very difficult pose because, that you can...
So the warrior pose, does that make me more angry?
Then you should just go read The Art of War and go out there and fight about it. Okay. No. I mean, they all it's all connected. I mean, they all have different things. Like my favorite connection is, I think we were talking before about, or maybe not, but there I go, all over the board, is the pineal gland. So that's something that's at the back of the brain, at the base, or at the top of the spinal cord, an actual physical, anatomical part of the body.
Right.
Now, for me, I started yoga because I was having an insomnia problem. So I was like, oh my gosh, when I practice yoga, that
puts me to sleep.
It's put me to sleep. My melatonin is getting, more regulated. And that was postures. You could even do a downward dog. Anything with an inversion is going to help your pineal gland. So something like handstands, headstands, even putting your legs up the wall or forward bends. Anything like that is going to help your pineal gland.
And that's going directly with the sleeping thing or being relaxed or...
Absolutely.
Taking you straight to, is that the alpha thing when you're going... So someone was telling me that when babies, when they jerk just prior to going to sleep, they're releasing all the tension.
Oh, amazing.
And so that's why I started doing the yoga stretching just before going to bed, is that I don't have to... And it takes you directly to the most sound part.
The theta waves.
Yeah. That's what I heard. Were they lying?
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to meet them. No, but I mean, it sounds, babies. I joke. I'm like, every time I look at a baby, I'm like, I don't remember when I was able to do that without Ambien. But, then I found yoga and I was like, oh, great. It's my recalibration button. Yoga is your reset button. You can live a life and make mistakes and then walk into the studio the next day and somehow reset yourself. I will say this though, you tend to sweat out whatever you've done the night before, so your yoga teacher does know what you did.
Smell like some good wine, whiskey, in case you're just joining me.
Scotch that I smoke emitting from your pores. I think so.
You're listening to The Professional Next Door. I'm your host, Jerry R. Perrier-Smith, 91.5 The Source. And Stacey's getting ready to tell us what she blogs about. What she blogs about. She's already gone through the education, and she's Australia? No, New Zealand. New Zealand, and then worked for Hugh Hefner, and then learning yoga in the parking lot. So, no,
I'm a
blogging.
gypsy, Jerry.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So, as a blogger, I have a lot of stuff to say. I'm always talking to people and pontificating because I read like crazy. So the blogging, I'm interested in getting into that. When did you start, and what is your topic, or were you always, like right away, you knew what you were going to blog about? Well, how does that work? What does that mean?
Well, I'm a recent blogger because I'm so old school that I'm like a 13-year-old girl sitting on my trundle bed at night with a diary, like, today I did. Like, and I just have shelves and shelves of diaries because I feel like there's such a connection between your hand and the paper and the pen, and I just love that.
When I was going to a community college in the early 80s, I was still in the Air Force, and I took a class called Free Writing. Mm-hmm. And he said, it's like one paragraph, 3 or 4 pages long. Don't worry about punctuation or spelling or any of that, and just write. Just write whatever comes to mind. If you can't write anything, it's whatever.
Yeah.
And I started doing that, and I collected, like, say, maybe 15 or 20 of small notebooks, and I've been writing ever since then.
That's
like the
great.
early 80s. So is yours something similar to that when you're saying that you've done a lot of blogging, a lot of journaling, whatever?
A lot of prepubescent style journaling. A little bit, and that's actually I don't know if you've ever read The Artist's Way, but Julia Cameron also recommend. I believe that's the author's name, but she recommends that to getting up daily and just whatever, just write it down. No, I kind of try and let inspiration put my words on the paper. So if I'm feeling inspired to write something that maybe I was uncomfortable putting up on the internet prior to my newfound blogging hobby.
Okay.
Then, I just sit in my literally, I would sit on my bed and just, write like I was in high school, and I'm very far past high school days, but
a couple. Well, you could see her walking in high school and go into a class, and they would say, "And our new student is this is high school. New student is."
She's going to attempt Algebra 2 again, and let me tell you, she will nail it this time. Are you listening, Mr. Hirsch? She will nail it.
No, don't go. Yeah. So the last blogs, or any of the most famous or the most reblogged, or how does that work?
You know what? I am so new to it. I don't.
Okay.
I haven't even. I'm still getting it together.
So what is a story or a thing you're saying that a mistake?
Well, my blog is called An Evening of Poor Choices, and
sounds like a novel. And I'm seeing a movie coming from that. But
yes. Well, my subtitle is because Trainwreck was taken. I actually had that folder on my computer for the longest time, Trainwreck, and then somebody came out with a really great movie with that same title, and I was like, man, she stole my name. But
but they do have movies with the same name, and books with the same name, and records with the same name.
But everybody be thinking about her,
and that's okay. You're going to change their mind once.
I'm an only child, Jerry. I like everybody just focus on me.
So now this is crazy. So my granddaughter, I said she turned 5, and I was in L.A. over the weekend. Her mother, my daughter, only child.
Oh.
Her father, only child.
No aunties and uncles then.
It dawned on me when she was like 3. No first cousins.
Oh.
And no uncles or aunts. And I'm saying that, wow.
And no brothers and sisters.
Right.
Hardcore, Jerry.
My daughter said, hey, I was an only child. He was an only child. We're only having one. So
that's brutal.
That's the one, and keep it going.
Well, I'm sure she's created her own family.
Well, no. See, my sister had 5 kids.
Oh, my
And all of them got 2.3 kids each. And then my brother had 8 kids. And we're all, within, say, 5 years we were born. So she has plenty of 3rd and 4th and 5th cousins. She's met them all when she comes here.
Okay.
And so there's no shortage
of
extending the bloodline.
Because I've absolutely made my cousins my brothers. I mean, I had that was my only option.
All right. So go back to your blogging.
Yes, exactly. So, you have to have someone to call when you're arrested. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I was there. I worked in there, so I got those calls. So I know.
Oh, you got the one saying, this is Stacy's cousin?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Let her out? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, this is how you do it. All right, all right, you're blogging.
Okay, getting back to my blog. So it is called An Evening of Poor Choices, as it is a collection of stories and whatnot about the many, many poor, or just maybe not.
They were fun poor choices.
They were,
or they could be categorized as that.
Yeah, they were interesting decisions. That in retrospect, if I maybe could have made another choice, but it sure wouldn't have been as fun to write about. However, I will say that I do want to prove with this blog that it doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made. You're always able to turn that around and show up to a yoga class, drink a green juice, turn that life around every
Become
second.
Become a vegan. or any of that stuff.
Raise your vibrational energy.
How can someone tap into that? How can they find you? Because this is a cliffhanger. They got to come to your blog site to read that stuff.
Come to my
out
blog.
of time. We only got about 20 seconds left.
Oh, yeah.
We were going to laugh through the whole thing. What, is over?
Do we really only have 20 seconds left?
Yeah. We're going to run out of time. We're going to cut us off.
Oh, my God. Okay, yes. Come to my blog. See when I teach. Let me guide you into other very poor choices. No, I'm just kidding. I will, try and, steer you in the right direction.
Okay, so if someone wants to follow your yoga, if they want to contact you or join your class or something like that, phone number, email somewhere?
Yes,
website?
They can always find me. Well, at my blog, I have all my contact info on there, which is, again, aneveningofpoorchoices.com. I'm Stacy Malia. That's pretty much, I am on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. And all my contact info is on my blog.
All right, Stacy, man, it's like time ran out.
Where did it go?
You kept talking
about nothing in a circle.
No, but I think it was very educational. I got something from it. So, all right, you guys, we're out of time. We'll see you guys again next week. Thanks to our guest, and thanks to you for listening. Knowledge, wisdom, experience is harvest time. This is your host, Jerry R. Smith, for The Professional Next Door. See you next week.